shops, bars, restaurants, and banks like most of these downtown behind me use thermal paper cash receipts just like this one. As you can see, the railing is bent and the road is eroding into the creek. Signs like this are posted in different neighborhoods that have agreed to be a part of the Community Watch program. A press conference was held earlier today at 3:30 regarding a false claim of Ebola. Someone called into St. Mary's Hospital today claiming that they had someone in their apartment that was sick and had recently traveled from Africa. Missouri State Highway Patrol statistics show 500 fewer highway fatalities than a decade ago, when fatalities reached over 1,200 in 1 year. Also Rockbridge High School and then the Columbia Career Area Center, which is nearby. But none of these schools were close enough to be notified when there were shots fired at Bethel Park earlier this month. Family of Four's benefits are being cut by $36 per month, which is about how much all this food in this basket cost. Now the families are having to turn to the local food banks to replace these meals that are being cut in their budget. Now the company says that the supplies that they receive and ship out have a very short shelf life. I'm standing on Sunshine Drive, where right down the street Malcolm Redmond was arrested this summer. Now I talked to neighbors and they say they remember the raid of the house this summer vividly. However, a lot of them were too scared to even go on camera and talk about it. Well, this right here is the complaint from Broadcasting Music Incorporated, or BMI, in New York City. I'm standing in front of the Rustic Road Bridge, which is narrow and is actually rusting in some parts of the bridge. Now, to make matters worse, the alternate route, which I'm standing on right now, flooded this morning, causing some parents to have to keep their kids home from school today. Neighbors have been complaining about this bridge for about 3 years now, and some are worried that their concerns are not being heard. People here say the Rustic Road Bridge is in need of a makeover. The bridge currently cannot hold more than 3 tons, which is about 3 pickup trucks. Last year, the county put in a temporary bypass to please people nearby. However, this road is now flooding, making the bridge the only passable route.
We have big rains coming again tonight or even tomorrow, and the question is how much longer is this bridge going to be able to take the trees banging into it, and how many times are we going to have to wait for the bypass to be fixed.
This morning the bypass was flooded with water and debris from the creek. School buses will not go over the bridge or through the bypass, so people who live past the bridge must take their kids to the bus stop each day.
We have to get up early, take our kids to the top of the hill for the school bus to pick them up. Then we have to leave work early and come back and pick our kids up at the top of the hill and bring them back home.
Although the road is said to be under city maintenance, the Boone County Resource Management is taking the lead on the project. But after 3 years of planning, neighbors are beginning to worry about the bridge staying put. Now, as you can see, the railing to this bridge is already dented and the concrete is already going into the creek, making residents on the other side of the bridge feel like this bridge is unsafe to pass. I spoke with the chief engineer at Boone County Resource, and he said the bid was put into MoDOT earlier this September, but they have not heard anything back yet. Residents hope construction will begin soon before more flooding. In May, KMU8 reported that this was going to be one of 2 bridges that will be rebuilt with the geosynthetic reinforced soil technology. But as you can see, that has not happened yet. Reporting live in Columbia, Meredith Miller, KMU8 News. Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey has become a very popular drink over the past few years, especially for young drinkers. But one chemical, propylene glycol, is causing concern for some people. With the slogan, "Tastes like heaven, burns like hell," Fireball whiskey has been flying off the shelves in bars and liquor stores.
I would say Fireball is the #1 shot that we have here. It has basically become like the Kleenex of shots, basically.
A few European countries, though, may cause some trouble for this fiery drink. Norway, Sweden, and Finland recently recalled the drink when they learned a chemical commonly found in antifreeze is used to make the whiskey. The chemical propylene glycol is used to make Fireball. However, this chemical is considered generally recognized as safe by the Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry. Now, I spoke to almost every bar in downtown Columbia, and they told me that distributors are still sending the Fireball whiskey for them to sell because it has not been banned in the United States. The food and drink regulations for European countries have historically been more strict than the United States. And the chemical of concern is not only found in antifreeze, but also other common items like ice cream and icing, artificial sweeteners, and even soft drinks. The company that owns Fireball Whiskey says it will be changing the formula for Europe, but some store owners hope they change it for all distributors.
Just hope whatever Fireball has going on, I hope they fix it, change it, and get it ready for the public again because they love the shot.
The company hopes to get Fireball back on the European shelves in 3 weeks. And for now, the bottles stay put on American shelves. The FDA does not have any plans right now to ban Fireball in the United States. Well, Jamie, we talked to almost every school board in mid-Missouri, and no one right now wants their teachers to carry a weapon on campus. Most schools said it's due to the fact that they already have protection officers on campus or on call, and the program is too expensive. Mid-Missouri school boards are hesitant to allow teachers to carry guns on campus, even though the Missouri legislature passed a law that would allow them to do so. The law would allow schools to delegate one or more of their staff members to conceal and carry after participating in extensive training. Although the bill was voted on and accepted, it does not require schools to adopt the idea.
Legislature's credit, they allowed each individual school board to make decisions based on this bill.
If a school decides to train a teacher, they must hold a public meeting regarding the decision and then request training for the teachers through the Department of Public Safety.
Now, these are the training requirements right here. Teachers must have 112 hours of training by the Department of Public Safety or have 600 hours of prior law enforcement training to be able to carry.
Once the teachers are trained, they must keep the weapon concealed at all times, and they have the power to detain and arrest like any other law enforcement officer. Most schools we talked to, however, already have a law enforcement officer, security officer, or resource officer on call whom they trust to protect the schools.
He is rehearsing a school shooting every day. Every day he comes here, there's a shooting in his mind, and he is reacting in his mind all the time.
Another reason some schools aren't arming teachers is the cost of the training. It will cost more than $17,000 to train 2 teachers or school employees.
We don't think that's a good use of our taxpayer dollars and our teachers. And we believe that teachers were hired to teach, not to protect our schools in that regard.
Most schools also have other safety measures to protect their students, including buzz-in systems, intruder and self-defense drills, and protection training. So they don't think adding more guns is necessary.
We've actually had safety devices in place for several years now. The buildings both of the buildings you have to be buzzed in. Both secretaries in this building have a phone that they can see the person on the screen. We are on constant lockdown all the time.
One district that might add guns is the Columbia Public Schools, but they won't be arming teachers. The district is working on a new security measure that would include allowing their security directors to carry guns. However, the district was considering these measures before the bill was even passed.
The role of an educator is to teach in class, and that there are law enforcement officers as well as our safety and security officers who are trained to handle those types of crisis situations and trained to handle a gun in an appropriate atmosphere.
As for the new law, no school has asked for training yet, but some say this does not mean they won't in the future.
I can see both sides of the coin. It's just not right for us at this point in time.
To see what school protection plans are in your kid's school, visit our interactive map at KMU.com. You'll be able to click on each district and find out if they responded to our calls and reasons for not allowing teachers to carry. Many dairy farmers like Alfred Brandt of Brandt Dairy Farms are struggling to keep their family farms. Brandt's family has been dairy farming in Lynn, Missouri since 1997. He's a 6th-generation farmer, but unlike Brandt, not all families are lucky enough to hold onto their farms.
I'm milking 170.
The Missouri dairy industry has lost about 400 dairy farms in the past 5 years due to a pair of bad farming years in 2009 and 2012. 2 factors are responsible. Farmers often lacked money and had to close their farms, and as farmers retired, they increasingly have no one to take over the farms. The decrease in dairy farms is not only affecting farmers, but also those who buy milk.
So this isn't just a dairy farm, dairy producer issue. This is an issue all across the board for the dairy industry, and ultimately it's the consumer that pays the price for what's happening in the industry in Missouri.
Processing companies in Missouri are now having to import milk from western states to meet the demand, and that can get expensive. Competing brands like almond milk used to be more expensive, but now that the Missouri dairy industry production has slowed down, these competitors are about equivalent to the local Missouri milk prices. Representative Bill Reibold and Representative Casey Guernsey have sponsored a new dairy and agricultural bill to keep Missouri dairy farms in business. This bill is a piggyback off the National Farm Bill just passed. The Missouri bill helps farmers get money from local taxes of milk products. The money helps farmers stay above their break-even point based on how much insurance they choose to buy. The bill also includes a scholarship for agricultural students requiring them to work in Missouri for 2 years of every year they receive the scholarship. This will help keep workers in Missouri and get younger people in the business.
It's a small pool of resources to pull from as far as kids that have a knowledge of the dairy industry. So if we can get kids interested and focused on dairy in Missouri and get them hired back on dairy farms in Missouri, it should really help things take off.
Representative Guernsey says there has already been a lot of discussion on the bill. Meredith Miller, KMU 8 News, Lynn, Missouri.